The Galactic Council chamber was abuzz with activity as representatives from numerous species gathered to discuss the latest decree. The air was charged with anticipation and murmurs of discontent. At the center of this assembly stood William Will Hayes, Earth's ambassador. He was a tall man with sharp features, his eyes reflecting the weight of the responsibility on his shoulders. The council president, a stern-looking alien with a visage resembling that of a stone statue, called the meeting to order. "Today, we address the matter of human weapons," he announced, his voice resonating through the vast hall. "Due to their destructive potential, we have decided to enforce a ban on all human-engineered weaponry." Gasps and murmurs rippled through the chamber. Will's heart sank, but he remained composed. He had anticipated this move, yet the reality of it struck hard. Without their advanced weapons, Earth would be vulnerable. "Ambassador Hayes, you have the floor," the president said, motioning for him to speak. Will stepped forward, his mind racing. He knew he had to present a compelling argument. "Esteemed members of the council," he began, "Earth has always sought peace and cooperation within the galaxy. However, our weapons are a crucial part of our defense. Banning them leaves us exposed to those who do not share our values." A member of the council, a reptilian being with scales that shimmered under the chamber's lights, interrupted. "Your weapons are a threat to all of us. They must be controlled." Will's jaw tightened, but he kept his tone measured. "We do not seek conflict. Our weapons are a deterrent, not a provocation. Stripping us of them invites aggression." The debate continued, with voices rising and falling like waves crashing against a shore. Will's arguments were met with skepticism and outright hostility. He knew he was fighting an uphill battle. Finally, the president raised his hand to silence the room. "The decision stands. Human weapons are banned, effective immediately." Defeated but not broken, Will nodded and returned to his seat. He glanced at his colleague, Dr. Lydia Harper, a brilliant scientist who had been instrumental in developing Earth's defense technologies. Her expression mirrored his own, resolute but worried. As the session ended, Will and Lydia made their way to a secluded corner of the chamber. "We need to find an alternative," Lydia whispered. "Something that can protect Earth without violating the ban." Will nodded. "I've been thinking the same thing. We can't rely on the Council to safeguard our planet." Later that evening, in the privacy of Earth's embassy, Will and Lydia convened a meeting with the top scientists and military leaders. The room was filled with a tense energy as they discussed their options. "We have one project that might fit our needs," Lydia said, her voice steady. "It's called Project Kraken. It's a fleet of autonomous drones designed for non-lethal defense. They can disable enemy ships without causing any fatalities." The room buzzed with cautious optimism. Will leaned forward, his eyes narrowing thoughtfully. "Tell me more." Lydia explained the technical details, showcasing holographic schematics of the drones. They were sleek, equipped with advanced shielding and EMP capabilities to neutralize threats without lethal force. "This could work," Will said, a spark of hope igniting within him. "But we need to be sure it's ready. The Zarkan marauders are already targeting us. We don't have much time." As they discussed the logistics and timelines, Will felt a renewed sense of purpose. They had a plan, a way to protect Earth that didn't rely on traditional weapons. It was a risky move, but it was their best shot. The meeting ended with a clear directive: prepare Project Kraken for deployment. Will knew the stakes were high, but he was determined to see it through. Days later, as the first Marauder ships appeared on the horizon, the tension in Earth's command center was palpable. Will stood at the helm, surrounded by monitors displaying real-time data. The room was silent, every person focused on their tasks. "Activate the Kraken," Will ordered, his voice calm but firm. The command was relayed, and moments later, the sky above Earth filled with the sleek forms of the Kraken drones. They moved with precision, forming a defensive perimeter around the planet. The Marauders, initially confident, hesitated as they encountered the unexpected defense. The Kraken drones unleashed EMP pulses, disabling enemy ships without causing destruction. It was a sight to behold, Technology used to preserve life, not take it. The battle was intense, but the Kraken drones held their ground. Will watched as the Marauder ships began to retreat, their confidence shattered by the formidable defense. As the last of the enemy ships disappeared into the void, the command center erupted in cheers. Will allowed himself a brief moment of relief. They had succeeded in protecting Earth, at least for now. But he knew this was just the beginning. The Galactic Council would demand answers, and there would be consequences. For now, though, they had shown that there were ways to defend themselves that aligned with their values. Will turned to Lydia, a hint of a smile on his lips. "We did it." She nodded, her eyes shining with pride. "Yes, we did. But the real challenge is yet to come." Will Hayes walked briskly down the corridor of Earth's embassy, his mind churning with the gravity of their situation. He and Dr. Lydia Harper had convened a clandestine meeting with the brightest minds in Earth's defense sector. The stakes were clear. Find a way to protect Earth without traditional weaponry. Entering the conference room, Will found Lydia already in deep discussion with General Marcus Trent, an imposing figure with years of combat experience etched into his stern features. Alongside him were scientists and engineers, each bringing their expertise to the table. "We need solutions," Will began without preamble. "The Council's ban leaves us vulnerable, and the Zarkan Marauders won't hesitate to exploit that." Lydia stepped forward, her expression determined. "We have been working on something unconventional, a project that might just give us the edge we need. It's called Project Kraken." A murmur of curiosity spread through the room. Lydia activated a display, revealing detailed schematics of the Kraken drones. Sleek and formidable, these autonomous drones were designed for defense. They employed advanced non-lethal technology to neutralize threats without causing harm. The Kraken drones are equipped with electromagnetic pulse emitters and advanced shielding, Lydia explained. They can disable enemy ships, rendering them inoperative without causing fatalities. General Trent scrutinized the schematics. "This is impressive, but are they battle-ready? We can't afford any mistakes." "We've conducted extensive simulations," Lydia assured him. "The drones are fully operational. They represent a new form of defense, one that aligns with the Council's restrictions but still protects Earth." Will felt a glimmer of optimism. "Our primary concern is time. The Marauders could strike at any moment. We need to prepare for immediate deployment." The room buzzed with the urgency of the task ahead. Teams were formed, each with specific roles in readying the Kraken drones for action. Engineers fine-tuned the drone systems, while strategists worked on deployment scenarios. As the preparations progressed, Will and Lydia took a moment to review the broader implications of their plan. "This could change everything," Lydia said quietly. "A way to defend ourselves without resorting to lethal force. It's a new paradigm." Will nodded. "It is, but we must be cautious. The Council will scrutinize our actions closely. We need to ensure our defense is beyond reproach." The next day, the command center at the embassy was a hive of activity. The first signs of the Zarkan Marauders appeared on their sensors, a fleet of ships approaching Earth's orbit. The tension in the room was intense as everyone prepared for the inevitable confrontation. Will took his position at the central console, his eyes fixed on the tactical displays. "Activate the Kraken drones," he ordered, his voice steady. Outside, the drones launched from their concealed silos, moving with precision to form a defensive perimeter around the planet. The Marauders, expecting an easy target, were taken aback by the sophisticated defense. The drones engaged, their EMP pulses disrupting the Marauder ship systems. The invaders' advance faltered as their vessels were rendered inoperative. The Kraken drones maneuvered expertly, avoiding direct confrontation while systematically neutralizing the threat. Will watched the operation unfold, his mind racing with every tactical decision. The room was silent, everyone focused on their tasks. The initial wave of Marauders was repelled, but more ships were on the way. General Trent approached Will, his expression grim but resolute. "The drones are performing well, but we need to maintain this defense. The Marauders won't give up easily." "We'll hold," Will replied. "We have to." As the battle continued, the Kraken drones showcased their versatility, adapting to the Marauders' tactics and maintaining their defensive line. The drone's success was a testament to human ingenuity and strategic thinking. Hours later, the Marauders began to retreat, their confidence shattered by the formidable defense. Earth had withstood the assault without a single casualty, a victory achieved through innovation and resolve. In the aftermath, the command center erupted in cheers. Will allowed himself a moment of relief, but he knew their challenges were far from over. The Galactic Council would demand answers, and they needed to be prepared. Lydia approached him, her eyes reflecting a mix of pride and concern. "We did it, Will. But what comes next?" The command center was alive with urgency as Will Hayes surveyed the data streaming in from the observation satellites. The Zarkan Marauders' fleet had been detected on the fringes of Earth's defense perimeter, their ships moving with an aggressive intent that could not be mistaken. "All stations, report status," Will commanded, his voice steady. "Kraken drones are fully deployed and in position," Lydia Harper responded, her fingers dancing over the control panel. "All systems are green. We're ready." General Marcus Trent stood beside Will, his gaze fixed on the tactical display. "The Marauders won't expect this. We need to make sure the drones operate flawlessly." The first wave of Marauder ships breached the outer defenses, their weapons primed and ready. Will could feel the gravity of the moment as he watched the enemy advance. "Engage the Kraken drones," he ordered. With precise coordination, the drones sprang into action. They moved swiftly and efficiently, their EMP pulses disrupting the Marauder systems. The enemy ships faltered, their attacks rendered ineffective by the sophisticated defense technology. Will's focus was unyielding. "Deploy the secondary wave. We need to maintain pressure and prevent any breaches." The secondary wave of drones launched, adding to the defensive net that enveloped Earth. The command center was a hive of activity, every team member contributing to the coordinated effort. As the battle raged on, Will's mind remained sharp. He monitored the drone's performance, issuing commands and adjustments as needed. The Marauders were relentless, their determination evident in their persistent attacks. "General, how are our ground defenses holding up?" Will asked. "Minimal impact so far," Trent replied. "The drones are doing their job, but we can't afford any slip-ups." The Marauders, realizing their conventional tactics were failing, began to adapt. They launched a series of diversionary strikes, attempting to confuse and overwhelm the Kraken drones. "Lydia, we need to recalibrate the drones' targeting algorithms. They're trying to split our forces," Will directed. Lydia nodded, her focus intense. "On it. Recalibrating now." The adjustment worked. The drones quickly adapted, neutralizing the diversions and reasserting control over the battlefield. The Marauders' frustration was evident as their ships fell back, unable to penetrate the defensive barrier. Amidst the chaos, a new threat emerged. A massive Marauder flagship, previously undetected, appeared on the radar. It was a behemoth, bristling with advanced weaponry and heavily armored. "That's their command ship," General Trent muttered, his expression grim. "They've been holding it back." Will's mind raced. The flagship posed a significant threat, one that the Kraken drones might not be able to handle on their own. "Focus all drones on the flagship. We need to disable it before it gets within range." The drones converged on the flagship, their EMP pulses battering its defenses. But the ship's advanced shielding held firm, absorbing the attacks without faltering. "We need a new strategy," Lydia said, her voice tinged with urgency. "The drone's EMP pulses aren't enough." Will scanned the tactical display, analyzing the flagship's movements and capabilities. An idea began to form. What if we overload their systems? Use the drones to generate a massive EMP burst, focused directly on their power core. "It's risky," Lydia replied, "but it might work." "Do it," Will decided. "Coordinate the drones and prepare for an overload burst." The drones repositioned, forming a precise formation around the flagship. As the command center watched, they began to generate the EMP burst, their systems pushed to the limit. The burst hit the flagship with a force that shook its very core. For a moment, it seemed to resist, its shields flickering under the strain. Then, with a dramatic surge, the flagship systems overloaded. Lights flickered out, and the ship drifted powerless. Cheers erupted in the command center. Will allowed himself a brief moment of relief. They had succeeded in neutralizing the primary threat. But the battle was not yet over. "We need to secure the remaining Marauder ships," General Trent reminded them. "They'll be disorganized, but still dangerous. Deploy the remaining drones," Will ordered. "Sweep the area and ensure no further threats remain." The Kraken drones moved with methodical precision, mopping up the remaining Marauder forces. The invaders, now leaderless and demoralized, retreated, their ships disappearing into the depths of space. As the last of the enemy ships vanished, the command center settled into a weary silence. Will looked around at his team, seeing the exhaustion and relief on their faces. They had done it. Earth was safe for now. Lydia approached Will, her expression a mix of pride and concern. "We did it, Will. But the Council will have questions. We need to be ready." The Galactic Council's chamber was once again filled with representatives from various species, their expressions a mix of curiosity and apprehension. Will Hayes stood in the center, flanked by Dr. Lydia Harper and General Marcus Trent. They were about to face intense scrutiny for their recent actions. Council President Soreth, with his stern, stone-like features, called the assembly to order. "Ambassador Hayes, Earth has used unconventional means to defend itself. Explain your actions." Will stepped forward, his voice steady but firm. "Esteemed Council, Earth was left defenseless by your decree. The Zarkan Marauders took advantage of our vulnerability. We had no choice but to deploy Project Kraken, a non-lethal defense system, to protect our planet." A murmur of surprise spread through the chamber. Soreth raised a hand for silence. "Describe this Project Kraken." Lydia activated a display, revealing the schematics and footage of the Kraken drones in action. The holographic display highlighted their non-lethal EMP pulses and advanced shielding. Project Kraken utilizes drones that disable enemy systems without causing fatalities. It's a new form of defense that aligns with your regulations. A reptilian council member leaned forward, her scales glinting under the chamber's lights. "Impressive technology, but why keep it a secret?" Will exchanged a glance with Lydia before answering. "We feared that revealing the project prematurely would lead to further restrictions. We acted in the best interest of Earth and the principles of the Galactic Council." The chamber erupted in debate, various species arguing the merits and risks of Earth's actions. President Soreth eventually called for order. "Enough. The Council will deliberate." As they waited, Will's mind raced. They had acted out of necessity, but the outcome was uncertain. Lydia placed a reassuring hand on his arm. "Whatever happens, we did the right thing." After what felt like an eternity, Soreth addressed the assembly. "The Council recognizes the ingenuity and ethical considerations of Project Kraken. However, Earth must face consequences for bypassing protocol." Will braced himself for the verdict. "Earth will be monitored closely, and any further breaches will result in severe penalties. But we also acknowledge the need for adaptable defense mechanisms. We will lift the ban on non-lethal technologies and encourage other member planets to adopt similar measures." A wave of relief washed over Will. They had not only defended Earth but also influenced the Council's policies. As the assembly dispersed, Soreth approached Will. "You have shown great ingenuity and restraint, Ambassador Hayes. Use this opportunity wisely." Back at the embassy, the team gathered to reflect on their achievement. The atmosphere was one of cautious optimism. General Trent raised a glass. "To Earth's defenders and our victory today." Will smiled, feeling a mix of pride and responsibility. "This is just the beginning. We have a chance to lead by example, to show that strength can be measured in more than just weapons." Lydia nodded. "And we have the Kraken to thank for that. It's a new era for Earth and the Galactic Council." The next few days were filled with diplomatic meetings and strategic planning. Earth's reputation had been bolstered, and other planets expressed interest in their non-lethal technologies. The Kraken drones had not only protected Earth but also paved the way for a new form of interstellar cooperation. As the sun set on another day, Will stood on the balcony of the embassy, looking out over the city. Lydia joined him, her presence a comforting reminder of their shared journey. "What's next for us?" she asked. Will's gaze was steady. "We continue to innovate, to protect, and to lead. We've shown the galaxy that humanity has much to offer, and we'll keep proving it."